Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So I've got XRP up here on the chart, and as you guys can see, not too much movement when it comes to XRP here at the moment. We've pretty much just been trading in this sideways channel for the last day or so. I mean, we did see that high yesterday of $2.36. Currently, XRP is trading for about $2.29. And over the last 24 hours or so, it has pretty much just been trading in this range. I mean, when you zoom out, there's really not too much to write home about. We are currently still making higher highs and higher lows. So that is the important thing to note here at the moment. Comparing that to Bitcoin, guys, let me just bring up Bitcoin here really quickly. And Bitcoin is getting up to these levels that we needed to get up to. Ultimately, Bitcoin does need to surpass some significant levels of resistance that I touched on the other day. Bitcoin on the daily, though, looking very, very positive. This pattern in here is looking very similar to what we saw back in and around here before Bitcoin did push up and finally make that new all-time high. So, let's keep an eye on Bitcoin over the next few weeks. Crypto market staying pretty steady. Fear and greed at 53. We've got the total market cap that is down by a little bit. It's almost back to $3 trillion, $2.99 trillion. The CMC 100, that's down by about 0.13. So crypto market is fairly quiet today. You guys can see not too much movement. There's some red and there's some green on the chart. Some coins are up, some coins are down. Again, just denoting, a low volume day today for the cryptocurrency space. There is some pretty big news, though, guys, when it comes to stablecoin adoption. So Wrath of Kahneman did just notice this, a number of Ripple payment users, okay? So, for example, Ripple partners like OnAfrique, Flutterwave, FOMOPay, Banco Santander, Soc Générale or Société Générale, Coins.ph, and BCB Group. Medico have also joined Circle's USDC-based payment network, the CPN. So you guys remember the other day, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, Circle did just announce that they are going to be releasing a stablecoin network, pretty much essentially competing with Ripple's RLUSD and the RippleNet system. And so why are all these Ripple partners joining Circle's USDC-based payment network? Wrath of Kahneman also comments down here, the system is global and growing, and it is set to roll out in May. So guys, I've got the announcement here. Let me just boost that up a little bit. In a move that signals a step change in how money moves across borders, okay? Let's get back to that in a second. Top fintech firms in Africa, including Yellow Card, Flutterwave, OnAfrique, have joined Circle's newly launched $100 billion stablecoin infrastructure, the Circle Payment Network CPN. Their participation marks a pivotal moment for African financial services, aligning the continent's leading fintechs with a global payment project that blends blockchain efficiencies with institutional-grade compliance. Backed by the issuer, the USDC, and the EURC, two of the world's most widely used regulated stablecoins, Circle Network is designed to tackle the cost, speed, and friction of cross-border payment issues long entrenched in the African financial landscape. So, I'm looking at this news article and I'm looking at these partnerships. Really what I see here is just more adoption for these companies. I mean, since they do leverage RippleNet for cross-border transactions, for them to be able to integrate into the CPN payment rails, that's just another avenue for them to do business in USDC. And so because all these networks are interoperable, guys, it's just going to bode well for the end user at the end of the day. And, all these systems are going to be able to connect. Launched on April the 21st, CPN enables institutions to settle international transactions using stablecoins in near real time, leveraging a hybrid infrastructure that connects blockchain with traditional finance. And down here it says Circle will act as the transaction operator enforcing compliance protocols. So we know we need that if we want to see cryptocurrency flourish in the traditional space. KYC is very important for that. So why does it matter for African fintech specifically? Well, Africa remains one of the most expensive regions in the world to send and receive money. And so if they can cut those fees, guys, even if it isn't, exclusively a Ripple-based system, well, that's just going to be better for the bottom line. Crypto adoption is no longer about, this idea that, we were talking about back in 2017, 2018, 2019. It's going to be RippleNet and RippleNet only. No, it's going to be a multitude of different platforms. CPN, we've talked about it being a competitor to Ripple, but I think Ripple, it's not going to hurt Ripple's bottom line. Ultimately, The competition, I think, is going to be healthy, and we're going to see all boats rise as a result of this. So, I'm reading this and I'm thinking to myself at first, I'm like, oh, well, is this such a good thing? But, at the end of the day, guys, it's not really that big of a deal. Some people down here in the comments saying, like Fishy Catfish saying, it means ODL and XRP as a bridge currency are not needed. No, that's not true at all. There are going to be other reasons why you need XRP. It is interesting, though, to see the space continuing to flourish. So wanted to thank Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Jungle Inc. guys posting this, okay. This is breaking. Mastercard is also launching a global stablecoin payment system. So here are some of the highlighted points here. Mastercard, with 1.1 billion users, unveils a system-supported wallet enabling card issuance, merchant settlement, and on-chain remittances. Remember, guys, Mastercard is a Ripple partner. The new OKX card will connect crypto trading to real-time spending to over 150 merchants globally. Consumers can spend stablecoins. Merchants can settle directly in USDC. So that's positive. Partnerships include OKX, Nuvei, Circle, Paxos, with wallet integrations for MetaMask and Kraken. Mastercard will also launch a metal crypto card in Q2 of 2025 using Linea and smart contracts to authorize payments in under 5 seconds. So, guys, this is a big deal here in terms of, more crypto adoption when it comes to one of the big credit card providers, stablecoin spending and settlement. This is going to become a reality very, very soon. So Mastercard will enable stablecoin spending via traditional cards through partnerships and platforms like MetaMask, Kraken, Gemini, Bybit, Crypto.com, Binance, Monavate, and Bleep. Consumers can use stablecoins stored in their wallets at over 150 million merchant locations worldwide. So this is scaling out, and it's looking to get very, very big, very, very fast. They're looking to enhance the user experience. I think ultimately, though, hopping on the this trend here where we're seeing stable coin adoption obviously becoming a global payment solution to what has been a problem for many, many years. Also, remember, I just want to remind you, these two companies, and we're going to get back to this. Mastercard is, of course, part of the WEF. And yes, Circle as well is also part of the WEF. This is important, so just keep that in mind, okay? Smoke here also posting this with regards to MasterCard. So we know MasterCard documentation on the future of remittances in South America. This is an older report, but I just wanted to remind you that Ripple here, and as Smoke does point out here, Ripple here is mentioned twice in this MasterCard report. So, when we hear about these integrations, when we hear about, the future of finance, when we hear about these supposed Ripple challengers like the Circle CPN project, we got to think to ourselves, no, guys, everything is going to be integrated. All boats will rise. Remember when they said that cryptocurrency legislation will mean that all boats will rise. A lot of these companies are going to grab a huge share, the majority share of the market. And this is just another example of that. So wanted to thank Smoke for posting that. And so ISO 20022 is coming, and here are some of the updates. Is a great reset on the horizon? Well, this coming from Cale Halen. Listen to this.
So how close are we to that currency reset we're all looking for? Well, I don't know that, but I do know that down here in the South, another bank is now sending out updates about the ISO 20022 global standard messaging service. And if you're in crypto, you kind of know what that is already about, but here you'll see that they're going to educate their customers all about this software is basically what it is, and how to prepare for it, and yes, the payment system that it's getting ready to update. And that's essentially going to allow this software, once it integrates into the bank, it's going to allow us to send money as fast and quickly as we can, a text or an email. And a really good Google search would be, what's the list of the top ISO 20022 compliant coins? Well, there's that one at the top, XRP, and you can imagine the rest. And there you go if you want a screenshot. But outside of that, good luck.
Of course, there are several coins, several projects have been ISO 20022 compliant from the beginning, but right at the top of the list, Ripple did make a point to say that their company was ISO 20022 compliant essentially as soon as the standard came out. So wanted to thank Cale Halen for that. Guys, speaking of the Great Reset, Black Swan events, some peculiar things are happening globally. Concerned Citizen here posting this. Today's blackouts in Spain, Portugal, and France are incredibly significant. Remember what Klaus Schwab said about Black Swan events.
And the last factor I want to mention is resilience, the capability to bounce back, because there will be certainly what we call the black swans, the unpleasant surprises which will come in our way.
He says black swan events are bound to come our way and we need to be resilient. I mean, if that's not, well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys know my views on this. Klaus Schwab, of course, the most recent former leader of the World Economic Forum, he just recently did step down. Who else heard about this? I did not know that Spain and Portugal and parts of France were hit by a massive power outage. I don't know if you guys remember back in a couple of years ago now, Canada was also hit by something similar. The Rogers network, that is a cell phone provider in the country of Canada, that was hit by a massive outage, a massive national outage, which took out all cell phone service, all internet service in the country. Well, here we have Spain and Portugal, guys, experiencing a widespread power outage on Monday, leaving millions without electricity. Not going to read into this. I'll leave the article here, but you know, what we're seeing here, I think, could be another test run, similar to what, you know, some people describe the beer flu as being. This could just be another test run for a real black swan event, as Klaus Schwab describes here at the Government World Summit. Things that make you go, Now, Canada did apparently, allegedly, vote in their next prime minister, and it is Mark Carney. Now, it's not, you know, it's funny. I woke up in the middle of the night and I checked my phone to see who won the Canadian election. I clicked on an article and there was an article that had a Mark Carney quote, and for the life of me, I cannot find it now. Basically, what he said is that the Canadian people, you know, although it is, you know, we're looking, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. He was trying to sound optimistic. It's not, he said something along the lines of, and I'm just paraphrasing here, it's not going to be easy for the Canadian people. So again, he's putting it out there. This is not going to be easy. Again, Mark Carney, guys, need I remind you, part of the WEF. So how is this all connected? Well, the Western world has a mandate, guys. Months ago, the EU Commissioner Labib told citizens to stockpile for the next crisis. So along the lines of Klaus Schwab talking about that Black Swan event, I guess I should preface here that Hajid Labib, she is a Belgian journalist, television presenter, director, and politician who has been serving as the European Commissioner for Preparedness, Crisis Management, and Equality since December 1st, 2024. And this is the video that they just put out. What's in my bag? Survival edition. First up, my glasses. Super important if you want to see what is happening or not. And it goes on to say, next, my documents. Waterproof pouch. A must. Rainy Brussels. Now, let's talk about lighting. Flashlight. If you don't forget the matches. And of course, the light. Lighter. Okay. Unbelievable. And water, of course, because water is life. To my special friend, a Swiss Army knife, 18 tools in only one knife, a must-have. And don't forget your medication. You might need it because you never know. And don't forget something to eat. You might be hungry, very hungry. Great reset stuff. And of course, some cash. In the middle of a crisis, cash is king. Look at the lapel she's wearing. And your credit card might just be a piece of plastic, a charger, and a power book, because a dead phone is a dead end. Playing cards, a bit of a distraction, never hurts anyone. And don't forget the radio, the smaller one. This is everything you need to survive the first 72 hours of a crisis, a great reset, whatever you want to call it. Speaking about being prepared, it's strategy to be sure that every citizen is safe in case of a crisis. So what she's basically describing here is a bug-out bag, something that survivalists have been doing for decades and something that they have been gaslit for doing, deemed conspiracy theorists, so on and so forth. Well, guys, this is a real video here that I'm showing you. So I wanted to thank Ido Farina for posting that. Is there going to be a snowflake that eventually turns into a snowball, a la Bearable Guy Riddle? Well, this is Jim Rickards, guys, explaining how that could happen if we do, in fact, see a great financial reset.
And so that's the snowpack. So at this point, we're just waiting for the snowflake. We're waiting for the catalyst that will cause this catastrophe to come tumbling down. Now, one difference between a natural system, such as an avalanche, and a human-based system, such as the financial system, is that there is the ability to intervene. Imagine an avalanche is coming down and somehow a 10-foot steel fence, popped out of the mountain and stopped the avalanche. Well, you could imagine something like that. They don't exist in the real world, but you could picture something like that. That was the role of the Fed. In other words, this cascade that happened in 2008 was underway. Morgan Stanley was days away from failure. After Lehman, after AIG, Morgan Stanley would have been next. They were days away. Goldman Sachs would have failed after that. Then Citibank, then Bank of America. Who knows about JP Morgan, maybe, maybe not, but in all likelihood, yes, that all the major banks would have failed. That didn't happen, and we know why, because the Fed was the fence. It popped up and said, no, we are now going to guarantee every bank deposit in the United States, regardless of size. There's been a $250,000 limit. When I say the Fed, I'm including the FDIC and the Treasury and OCC and all the government agencies combined. We're going to guarantee every bank deposit in the United States. We're going to guarantee every money market fund in the United States. We will not only start printing money by the trillions, but they engaged in tens of trillions of dollars of, at the time, undisclosed swap arrangements with the European Central Bank, because the European banks had dollar liabilities. They owed dollars to U.S. money market funds. The European Central Bank can print euros, but they can't print dollars. So they couldn't bail out their own banks because they didn't have dollars. So what they did, they printed up a bunch of euros, the Fed printed up a bunch of dollars, they swapped the euros for the dollars, we still have the euros, they got the dollars, they used that to bail out their banks. So this is by the tens of trillions. So you add up all the guarantees, all the money printing, all the swaps that went into it is far beyond what you see on the Fed balance sheet. Much of that is still in place, not all of it, some of it's been unwound, but it's all still in place to a great extent. The banks are larger, so the whole thing is worse and more dangerous than it was. We're just waiting for that snowflake or the catalyst.
So he says there, we're just waiting for that snowflake. What is going to be the catalyst? Again, reminding us of this bearable guy riddle, how the snowball just gets bigger and bigger. So the global economy headed for a reset. This just actually came out courtesy of Ian Binns here. This came out last week. Is the global economy headed for a reset, recession, or both? Laissez-faire economics is out. Less than it was economics is in on Tuesday. The International Monetary Fund. So guys, this just came out from the IMF. They just released their latest World Economic Outlook report, which has cut its projection for global growth in 2025 to 2.8%, down from 3.3%. So they are saying that growth just is not going to happen. Driving a significant part of these downward revisions are U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff announcements, along with the associated policy uncertainty and push towards protectionism globally. We are entering a new era, the IMF chief said, as the global economic system that has operated for the last 80 years is being reset. So they say it right here. It's going to be reset. Catherine Austin Fitts also made an appearance on Tucker Carlson. 99% of people have never heard of the Bank for International Settlements. I'm sure you guys have heard it. If you've been listening to my channel or other XRP YouTube channels specifically, I didn't realize how much power these guys had. And yeah, they are just another organization that is part of the World Economic Forum.
That had sovereign immunity.
And so this is how money moves secretly, guys. I mean, considering Ripple is also a part of the World Economic Forum, I can see how it's all going to integrate one day. This has been the plan all along. I know some people think that is a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I do think, they do put it in plain sight. And now I think with Mark Carney at the helm in Canada, that is going to be, well, I guess we're going to have to see what happens there. Remember, he was the former central banker from not just one, but two central banks, the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. So I don't know, guys. Are you prepared if we do, in fact, see a reset, if, exchanges get locked? I'm sure you guys have a safety guard in play. I personally use a Ledger Nano to keep my cryptocurrency safe in cold storage. I do have an affiliate link in the description of the video. You guys can use it if you want. You don't have to use it, but I do stand by that particular product. I've been using it since 2017. I don't know, guys. It's all sounding very concerning to me. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.